The sun peeked over the rooftops of a quiet suburb, casting golden rays across Taylor Swift's cozy little house. It was a balmy Saturday morning in early March 2025, and the air felt light, almost like a promise of a good day. Inside, the smell of fresh coffee drifted from the kitchen where Taylor stood, humming softly to herself. She wore a faded gray hoodie and ripped jeans, her blonde hair tucked messily under a baseball cap. No glitz, no glamour, just Taylor, the superstar singer, enjoying a rare slice of normal life. Across the room, sprawled on the couch, was Travis Kelce, her fiancé. The big, tough NFL star looked anything but intimidating today. His broad shoulders were hidden under a loose black t-shirt, and his sweatpants had a small tear at the knee. His sneakers, scuffed and worn, sat by the door next to Taylor's beat-up Converse. To anyone passing by, they'd look like just another couple, no hint of fame or fortune. And that's how they liked it when the cameras weren't rolling. Movie night tonight, Travis called out, his deep voice breaking the morning stillness. He grinned, tossing a football lightly between his hands. I'm thinking something with explosions. Or maybe one of your rom-coms if you're lucky. Taylor turned from the counter, a playful smirk on her lips. Only if you say pretty please first, she teased, setting her coffee mug down. She crossed the room and plopped onto the couch beside him, nudging his arm. But we're out of snacks. Popcorn's gone, and I ate the last of the chips yesterday. Travis chuckled, his laugh warm and rumbling. You're a snack thief now, huh? All right, I'll save the day. He sat up, stretching his arms like he was gearing up for a game. I'll hit the market. What do you want? Popcorn, soda, maybe some chips and dip. Taylor tilted her head, pretending to think hard. Surprise me, she said finally, her eyes twinkling. But don't take too long, or I'll start the movie without you. And I'll pick something sappy just to mess with you. Oh, you wouldn't dare, Travis shot back, standing up. He grabbed his keys from the coffee table, the metal jangling in his hand. I'll be back before you can even find the remote. He leaned down and planted a quick kiss on her forehead, his stubble brushing her skin. Hold the fort, babe. Always do, Taylor replied, watching him head for the door. She leaned back into the cushions, smiling to herself as his old pickup truck rumbled to life outside. The day felt perfect, simple, peaceful, theirs. But as Travis pulled away, neither of them knew that trouble was waiting just down the road. Travis's old pickup truck rattled into the market parking lot, its faded blue paint blending into the sea of cars. The market was alive with Saturday morning buzz, vendors shouting about fresh apples, kids darting between stalls, and shoppers haggling over prices. He stepped out, tugging his t-shirt straight, his sweatpants sagging just a bit. With no fancy watch or shiny shoes, he looked like any other guy grabbing groceries. He liked it that way, no fuss, no spotlight. He wandered over to a fruit stand, nodding at the vendor, a wiry older man with a gap-toothed smile. Got any good apples today? Travis asked, picking up a shiny red one. The vendor laughed. Best in town, my friend. Take a few for your girl. She'll love them. Travis grinned, tossing a couple into his basket. She's picky, but I'll risk it. They chatted about the weather, easy and friendly, as Travis added some carrots and a bag of popcorn to his haul. But not everyone saw the scene the same way. Across the market, Officer Riley leaned against his patrol car, his sharp eyes locked on Travis. Riley was a stocky guy with a buzz cut and a permanent scowl, known around town for his temper and a string of complaints, most about how he treated people who didn't look right to him. Today, Travis caught his glare. The baggy clothes, the scuffed sneakers, the easy laugh with the vendor, it all rubbed Riley wrong. In his twisted mind, Travis didn't belong here, didn't fit the picture of who deserved to shop in peace. Riley straightened up, his boots thudding on the pavement as he marched over. The crowd parted slightly, sensing trouble. He stopped a few feet from Travis, his voice cutting through the chatter like a knife. Hey you, he barked, pointing a thick finger. Got yourself a permit to hang around here? Travis turned, eyebrows raised, the apple still in his hand. I'm just shopping, man, he said calmly, setting his basket down. Same as everyone else. Riley's lip curled into a sneer. Don't play dumb with me. People like you think you can just stroll in, act like you own the place. His words dripped with venom, his gaze raking over Travis's casual getup like it was proof of something rotten. Show me some ID. Now. Travis kept his cool, though his jaw tightened. I'm not doing anything wrong, he said, his voice steady. Just grabbing snacks. He stepped to the side, aiming to walk away, but Riley moved fast, blocking his path with a meaty arm. Where you think you're going? Riley snapped, his face inches from Travis's. You don't walk away from me. The air thickened. Trouble was brewing, and the market was about to become a stage. The market's hum faded as Officer Riley loomed over Travis, his shadow falling like a storm cloud. Travis stood tall, his hands loose at his sides, refusing to flinch. Look, I'm not breaking any rules, he said, his voice firm but calm. You're harassing me for no reason. Riley's face twisted, red creeping up his neck. Harassing you? He spat, stepping closer. You don't get to tell me how to do my job. People like you, walking around like you belong, need to learn some respect. His eyes flicked over Travis's t-shirt and sweatpants again, as if the lack of a suit or a shiny car was a crime itself. Travis clenched his fists but kept them down. I've got rights, same as anyone here, he said, his tone tightening. Let me pass. He turned to sidestep Riley, his basket of apples and popcorn still swinging from one hand. But Riley wasn't having it. His hand shot out, grabbing Travis's arm hard. You're not going anywhere, he growled. The crowd started to notice. Shoppers paused. Vendors peeked over their stalls. Travis pulled his arm free, his patience thinning. Back off, man. You're abusing your power. He reached into his pocket, pulling out his phone. I'm recording this. That flipped a switch in Riley. His eyes blazed, and before Travis could hit record, Riley lunged. Put that down, he snarled, smacking the phone from Travis's hand. It hit the pavement with a crack, the screen shattering into a spiderweb of glass. Gasps rippled through the onlookers. Travis stared at the broken phone, then back at Riley. You can't do that, he said, voice rising. You're supposed to protect people, not break their stuff. Riley's smirk vanished, replaced by pure rage. You didn't listen, he hissed, balling his fist. Now you'll learn. Without warning, he swung, a vicious punch straight to Travis's left cheek. The crack of knuckles against skin echoed, and Travis stumbled back, dropping his basket. Apples rolled across the ground as he hit the pavement hard, one hand clutching his face. Pain throbbed where Riley's fist landed, a bruise already blooming under his eye. The market erupted in chaos. Hey, stop it! A woman yelled, her voice sharp with shock. A man stepped forward, fist clenched. He's not doing anything. Leave him alone. Kids hid behind their parents, wide-eyed. Riley spun toward the crowd, his chest heaving. Stay out of this, he roared, pointing a threatening finger. Or you're next. Travis groaned, pushing himself up on one elbow. Blood trickled from a split lip, but his eyes burned with defiance. Someone help me, he muttered, loud enough for nearby shoppers to hear. Phones were out now, people filming, whispering, anger bubbling up. Riley towered over him, sneering. No one's helping you, he said coldly. Maybe next time you'll think twice before mouthing off. The crowd's murmurs grew louder, a mix of fear and fury. Travis wiped his lip, staring up at Riley. He wasn't broken, not yet. But Riley had no idea what was coming. Back at home, Taylor's phone was about to ring, and the storm was only beginning. Back at the cozy house, Taylor lounged on the couch, flipping through movie options. The TV flickered with bright colors, but her mind wandered to Travis. He'd been gone longer than expected. Maybe he was picking out something special, she thought with a smile. Her phone sat silent on the coffee table, the morning's peace wrapping around her like a blanket. She was still in her hoodie and jeans, her cap pulled low, just a regular girl waiting for her fiancé. Then the phone buzzed, shattering the quiet. Taylor grabbed it, expecting Travis's voice. Instead, a stranger's panicked words spilled out. Is this Taylor Swift? Listen, your fiancé. He's been attacked by a cop at the market. You need to get here quick. Her stomach dropped, the room tilting. What? Who did this? Is he okay? She demanded, her voice shaking. Officer Riley, the caller said, breathless. He hit him. Travis is hurt. Hurry. The line cut off. Taylor's heart slammed against her ribs. She didn't think, just snatched her keys, bolted out the door, and jumped into her old car. The engine sputtered to life as she floored it, tires squealing. Her hands gripped the wheel so tight her knuckles turned white. Hold on, Travis, she whispered, fear and fury mixing in her chest. The market came into view, a mess of noise and people. Taylor slammed the brakes, spotting Travis on the curb. He sat there, one hand on his bruised cheek, blood staining his lip. A crowd hovered, some angry, some whispering comfort. His broken phone lay nearby, apples scattered like little red flags. Taylor threw the car door open and ran to him, her sneakers pounding the pavement. "Travis," she cried, dropping to her knees beside him. His eyes met hers, tired but fierce. "I'm okay, babe," he said, voice rough. "Just a little banged up." She touched his face gently, wincing at the swelling. Tears pricked her eyes, but anger burned hotter. "Who did this?" she demanded. Before Travis could answer, a shadow fell over them. Officer Riley stepped forward, his boots scuffing the ground. His smirk was ugly, twisted with pride. "This your girl?" he taunted, looking Taylor up and down, her messy hoodie, her cheap jeans. "Guess disrespect runs deep in this family. What's a tramp like you gonna do about it?" The words hit like a slap. Taylor shot to her feet, her green eyes blazing. "What the hell did you do to him?" she shouted, her voice cutting through the crowd's murmurs. Riley laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "He needed a lesson," he said, cracking his knuckles. "Maybe you do too. You think you're tough, showing up here." Taylor's hands balled into fists. She wasn't just a singer now. She was a wall between Riley and Travis. The crowd edged closer, phones still rolling, catching every word. Travis struggled to stand, gripping her arm. "Taylor, don't," he started, but she shook her head. "No one touches you and walks away," she said, her voice low and deadly. Riley's smirk faltered for a split second. He'd woken something big, and the air crackled with it. The market square buzzed with tension, the crowd forming a loose ring around Taylor, Travis, and Officer Riley. Taylor stood in front of Travis, her hoodie sleeves pushed up, her eyes locked on Riley like a hawk. Travis pulled himself to his feet, wincing as he touched his bruised cheek, but his broad shoulders squared up. Riley sneered, his meaty hands flexing. "You two think you can take me?" he mocked, stepping closer. "Let's see it." Taylor didn't flinch. "You don't touch my family," she said, her voice sharp as a blade. Riley laughed, loud and mean, then swung a wild punch at her face. But Taylor was quick. Years of dodging stage lights and paparazzi had sharpened her reflexes. She ducked, the fist whistling past her ear, and the crowd gasped. "Too slow," she snapped, her heart pounding. Travis moved fast, stepping between them. "Back off her," he roared, his football-honed strength kicking in. Riley snarled and swung again, this time with his baton, aiming for Travis's head. The metal gleamed in the sunlight, but Travis threw up his arm, blocking it with a grunt. The baton clanged against his forearm, pain flashing across his face, but he didn't buckle. "That all you got?" he growled. Riley's face twisted with fury. "You're done," he shouted, lunging forward. But Travis was ready. He sidestepped, then drove a hard fist into Riley's chest. The cop stumbled back, air whooshing out of him. Taylor darted in, grabbing Riley's arm to twist it behind him. "You don't get to hurt him," she yelled, her voice fierce. Together, they were a blur, Travis with power, Taylor with speed. The crowd erupted, phones shaking as people filmed. "Get him," a man hollered. "That's Taylor Swift," a teen squealed, jaw-dropping. Riley yanked free, his baton swinging again, but Travis caught it mid-air, wrenching it from his grip. It clattered to the ground, useless. "Wrong move," Travis said, his tone ice-cold. He landed a solid jab to Riley's jaw, snapping his head back. Riley staggered, sweat dripping, desperation in his eyes. He charged Travis like a bull, but Taylor stuck out her foot, tripping him. He crashed face-first into a fruit stand, apples tumbling around him. Travis grabbed his collar, hauling him up, and delivered one last punch, a thunderous blow to Riley's gut. Riley crumpled to his knees, wheezing, his arrogance gone. Taylor stood over him, breathing hard. "You think you can hurt my fiancé and get away with it?" she said, her voice trembling with rage. Travis wiped blood from his lip, towering beside her. "Not today," he added, his stare drilling into Riley. The cop groaned, clutching his side, a broken mess on the pavement. The crowd exploded into cheers, clapping, and shouting. "Taylor! Travis!" they chanted, some waving their phones like flags. A woman yelled, "That's what he deserves." A kid jumped up and down, grinning. Riley glared up, his face a mix of pain and humiliation, but he couldn't stand. The fight was over, and he'd lost badly. Taylor turned to Travis, her anger softening. She touched his bruised cheek gently. "You okay?" she asked. He nodded, managing a crooked smile. "Better now," he said, pulling her close. The crowd's cheers washed over them, a wave of support. Justice had landed, swift and hard, and Riley had no idea who he'd messed with. The market square vibrated with the crowd's cheers, but the sound of sirens cut through the noise like a knife. Two squad cars screeched to a stop, tires kicking up dust. Officers jumped out, their faces hard and focused. The crowd parted, still buzzing, as people pointed at Riley, sprawled on the ground. Phones waved in the air, screens glowing with videos of his attack on Travis and the fight that followed. "Over here," someone shouted. "He assaulted that guy." Taylor stood beside Travis, her arm around his waist, steadying him. His cheek was swollen, his lip crusted with blood, but he held his head high. Riley groaned, pushing himself up, his uniform smeared with dirt and apple juice. "They attacked me," he whined, pointing a shaky finger at Taylor and Travis. "Arrest them." The lead officer, a tall woman with a no-nonsense stare, stepped forward. She glanced at Riley, then at the crowd's footage playing loud and clear. Riley smashing Travis's phone, punching him, swinging at Taylor. "We've got video," she said, her voice flat. "Says you're the one in trouble." She nodded to her partner. "Cuff him." Riley's eyes widened. "What? No, you can't." But the second officer grabbed his arms, snapping cold steel cuffs around his wrists. The clink echoed, final and sharp. "You're under arrest for assault and misconduct," the lead officer said. "Let's go." Riley stumbled as they dragged him to the car, cursing under his breath, his smugness gone. The crowd watched in silence, their faces stony, a quiet victory. Taylor squeezed Travis's hand, her shoulders relaxing. "It's over," she whispered. He nodded, wincing as he smiled. "Yeah, thanks for having my back." She leaned into him, her cap brushing his shoulder. "Always," she said softly. The officers loaded Riley into the car, and as it peeled away, a few people clapped, a ripple of relief spreading. Hours later, the story blew up online. The videos, Riley's brutality, Taylor and Travis fighting back, spread like wildfire across X and beyond. By nightfall, Riley's badge was gone, his name tied to a criminal investigation. The public cheered, comments flooding in. Justice served, and Taylor and Travis are heroes. Back home, though, the world felt far away. The Swift house glowed with soft light. Taylor and Travis sat on the couch, a movie flickering on the TV. Popcorn sat between them, half-eaten, next to a bag of chips Travis had salvaged. He was cleaned up now, ice on his cheek, but the bruise still stood out. Taylor, still in her hoodie, curled up beside him, her head on his chest. The day's chaos lingered, but here, it was just them. "Some movie night, huh?" Taylor said, a small laugh breaking the quiet. She nudged him playfully. "I'm starting to think you just wanted an excuse to skip my rom-com pick." Travis chuckled, his arm draping over her. "Nah, I'd never dodge you that bad. But I did earn this popcorn right." He popped a kernel into his mouth, grinning. "Next time, you're picking the snacks." "Deal," she said, her smile widening. The TV hummed, the room warm and safe. And with that, their story pauses here. But it's not the end for you, our awesome readers. If you love this tale of courage and love, smash that like button to let us know. Want more adventures with Taylor and Travis? Hit subscribe, it's free, and you'll never miss a twist. Thanks for sticking with us through this wild ride. You're the real MVPs. Until next time, stay strong and keep the popcorn ready.